Let's talk about why you probably aren't a racist and you're probably not trying to overthrow Western society. I'll give two examples here to illustrate what I hope will be a revelation to people who like to talk about these kinds of issues and the ideologies that support them. Racists and xenophobes want to severely limit immigration and refugees. That's true as far as it goes, but it doesn't go far enough. An equally true statement is that racists and xenophobes aren't the only people who want to severely limit immigration and refugees. There is a national security and economic component to border policy that people in good faith may consider when espousing a view on said policy. But the racists and xenophobes don't care about national security or economics, they just want to keep out non-whites. These are two different things. Far-left radicals who want to subvert the West and Western values like to point out that we have a problem with racism and bigotry and sexism. That's true as far as it goes, but it doesn't go far enough. Far-left radicals who want to subvert the West and Western values aren't the only ones who like to point out that we have a problem with racism and bigotry and sexism. The difference between the subversive and the people in good faith is that people in good faith bring up these issues as problems to be solved. They shine a light on plights that might slip through the national consciousness so that we can all identify and work to fix them. Subversives don't care about racism or sexism, and they don't bring up these points as problems to be solved. They present them as evidence that Western society is a bunch of horse shit and needs to be pulled up root and branch and replaced. But because all of these groups will tend to use the same language and terminology, it's often hard to determine which one is speaking when they're talking about these issues. Part of the problem I see in the current political discourse is that we all have the sense that there are two groups opposing one another, the far right and the far left. In fact, there are not two groups here. There are four. Four groups and four ideologies. The right and left who bring up these issues in good faith as problems to be solved, and what I like to call the shadow right and the shadow left, groups of subversives who don't really care about these issues in good faith, but piggyback off of them in order to further their own separate agenda that neither the right nor the left would ever agree with or support. And I think we would do well to bear this in mind when we talk about these issues and think about these groups. The problems are solvable. Thank you, and Godspeed.